Well, now that the apocalypse has happened, what's next with the never ending Trump presidency? All this and more on the Self Evident Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to the Self Evident Podcast. You may notice I've got a little bit different digs if you're watching. If you're listening, it may sound a little bit different. That's because I'm doing it from home. Why is that? I'll be frank. I got all the way to the studio and realized I forgot my office key. And you may notice Massey's not here, so he couldn't let me in. So I'm back at home and I'm doing it there. I hope you don't mind, but we're still going to have a good time. Why? Because we're going to talk the incoming Trump presidency. Now there are a few things that people aren't talking about, and it's indicative of people freaking out about stuff, which happens, right? We all notice, okay, people freak out about stuff. Do they really need to? And this is no different. There's some funny stuff going on social media, and I will admit I'm not typically a what you would call crap poster. I tend to keep pretty silent, but I kind of let loose a little bit after the election just because some of the outrageous stuff that was coming out, it was kind of fun to, like, okay, we're being outrageous here and it shows. But what is not outrageous is if you go to theselfevidenttruth.com, get yourself some merch, get a shirt, get some resources. We're not doing much November, December. Now, I am having a kid in November, so that's a little bit of what I'm doing. But we won't be doing much until next year. And then we're going to be, basically running, sprinting as soon as the new year starts. So be on the watch for that. And by all means, if you would like to have us come speak, we're more than willing. So just let us know. Talk to your pastor, talk to your community group. We can do that. We can do homeschools. We got all kinds of stuff we can do. So by all means, invite us out. We'd be happy to come share with you what we've got. Now, this whole Trump presidency thing, there is a rumor that he just released his plan to restructure the government, and everybody's posting it. Even some prominent people like Charlie Kirk, I noticed, posting this thing and saying he just came out with this. I'm not saying that the points aren't legit in what he says in the video, but the thing is, the consensus seems to be of those who are looking into it that this video came out back in 2023. So let's not say that he just came out with this and this is a brand new. This is something that he has said before. Now, it doesn't change or negate the points that he makes in the video. And I'll go through some of these and you'll notice I'm kind of looking off. That's because that's where my notes are. I didn't print them out. I wanted to save paper, save the trees. I am green, running for the Green Party next year. That's me. Jill Stein, step over. It's my turn. Number one, he says he wants to immediately reissue 2020 executive order restoring the president's authority to remove rogue bureaucrats. Please, by all means. Clean out all the corrupt actors in national security and intelligence apparatus. If you do it today, it's too soon, or not soon enough, I should say. Too soon. But and all of these, what you're going to notice is you're going to get 4 more years of no matter what, Trump is wrong. And there was a joke going on back when he first got elected in 2016 that if he came out with a cure for cancer, they would tell you why it was wrong. And they actually did it. Babylon Bee might as well close up shop because they're just telling the truth at this point. So there's not really, the absurd nature of their humor anymore. But the incoming administration, before they were incoming administration back during the election, if you remember, when Trump was talking vaccines, guess what they were saying? I wouldn't trust it. We can't trust Trump's vaccine. You can't do this. Don't trust it. Don't get it. Blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as it became a Biden administration vaccine, well, off to the races of how great it is. So if Trump came out with a cure for cancer, if his administration was in power when a cancer solution came out, you're going to see people become very suspicious of it. When he talks about national security intelligence apparatus, it's so funny to me that the left, who for so long did not trust pharma, they didn't trust the government, they didn't trust the intelligence apparatus, they didn't trust authoritarianism, they didn't trust tyranny. Now all of a sudden, well, we have to defend it because what? Oh, the horror if the FBI and the CIA were reformed a little bit. And they will raise a clamor about this, of course. Now, he also talked about reforming the FISA courts. It says, which are so corrupt that the judges seemingly do not care when they're lied to in warrant applications, which what he's referring to is the original Russiagate FISA warrant. The FBI flat out lied in it. Now, it was a lie by omission, right? What they said was, well, the CIA knows that Carter Page is talking to Russians. What the FBI knew, but did not say in that FISA warrant, was that Carter Page got talked to by some Russians and went directly to the CIA. And when the FBI talked to the CIA about it, CIA, yeah, he's our guy. We got it. He's on our side. He's pumping us with information. But the FBI decided, well, that didn't help the narrative. So they're going to leave that little bit out so they could get the FISA warrant to move forward with the whole Russiagate stuff. So that's personal for Trump for sure. All of this is really personal for him. Says expose the hoaxes and abuses of power that have been tearing our country apart. Well, yeah, Russiagate. Launch a major crackdown on government leakers who collide with fake news and deliberately give false narratives and subvert our government and our democracy. Now, Trump, part of that's on you, bud. And we're going to get into some of the people that there's swirling rumors about him picking for his cabinet. And it's great. That's fine. But be very careful, bud, of what you're trying to do. Because you could go for round 2 of having a bunch of these leakers and people who are not on your side. All it takes is picking the wrong people. So it's kind of on you, bro. 6, make every inspector general's office independent and physically separated from the departments they oversee so they do not become the protectors of the deep state. Man, that's smart. And I think what you need to do is you need to water down Washington. Washington is a consolidated hive of wickedness and bureaucracy, which are really two of the same things, right? So what you need to do is spread it out. If instead of having these central offices and obviously, like, and we'll get into Elon Musk, but have Musk take a chainsaw. And I'm so surprised Milei has not been brought up, the guy in Argentina. I know I'm all over the place, but there's a lot here. Nobody's brought up Milei and how he's done in Argentina and all the government departments and everything that he's cut and all of that. Like, let's start talking to him. Let's start talking about him. Let's get some pointers, some tips, because guess what? He was inspired by Trump. He was inspired by the Don't Tread on Me, Gadsden flag movement. He was inspired by libertarianism. Let's sit down and have a chat with him. Let's sit down and have a chat with the guy over in El Salvador. Either way, Elon Musk most likely is going to be in some position in terms of government efficiency. So get rid of the bureaucracies and the departments that really are useless and are just money sucks. But at the same time, dilute the power because the power is too consolidated. So start putting these departments, the central locations of these departments, the headquarters, put them in random spots, like small town Nebraska. And I think you're going to find that if you spread them out, those people are going to be a little more disconnected from inside the Beltway thinking mindset, hive mindset. And they're going to have to be a little more with the people. And you're going to get people that are more okay with living a slow rural life and having a bit more perspective on what's really important in life. Now, pipe dream, sure, but could be useful. Ask Congress to establish an independent auditing system to continually monitor our intelligence agencies to ensure they are not spying on our citizens or running disinformation campaigns against the American people, or that they are not spying on someone's campaign like they spied on my campaign. I would put it even further. Get Congress, and instead of having one committee, maybe you ensure that Congress has more access to who the intelligence communities are hoovering up data on and spying on, because there's been accounts of congressmen being spied on and having their phones taken and all of that. 8, continue the effort launched by the Trump administration to move parts of the sprawling federal bureaucracy to new locations outside the Washington swamp. Okay, so there, exactly that point. I think I skipped over that when I was looking at these notes, but cool. I fully, wholeheartedly agree. Work to ban federal bureaucrats from taking jobs at the companies they deal with, and military industrial complex. Anybody, that one would be great. This revolving door, and go even further. I think on day one, he should remove security clearances of just about everybody, especially the higher ups. Put new people in, get rid of these security clearances, because if you fire a person, typically they will probably retain their security clearance, which means they are a shoo-in for a private sector position, lobbying and on boards of these companies and all that. Could you imagine if all of a sudden you took the teeth out of these former government bureaucrats and deep staters so that they could not just join a board for Boeing or Raytheon or whoever, insert military industrial complex company A? And if you removed that big advantage that they have, all of a sudden there's less incentive to have this revolving door. Because isn't it funny that they push and promote Ukraine and spending bills to buy armaments for Ukraine, right? So we're going to send money to Ukraine so that they can buy weapons. Well, who do you think they're going to buy weapons from? And oh, by the way, we send them our own weapons and artillery as well. So our stocks are depleted. So, well, we better buy more. Who do you think we're going to buy it from? So who stands to profit the most from pushing a war like Ukraine? I'll let you fill in the gaps. And then you get people who are in the bureaucracy who have worked on these companies before. And oh, by the way, they're probably going to work there again when they're done with the bureaucracy. And you get a nasty revolving door of paychecks all over the place and money flying all over the place. 10, push a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on members of Congress. Now, I would disagree with this one if we didn't have the 17th Amendment. The fact that senators are now chosen by the population, and the game has been so rigged that, isn't it funny, you've got a guy like Mitch McConnell who's in there for decades, Nancy Pelosi, decades. Like, I think we've kind of hit that limit of the old are not going to relinquish power voluntarily. So now you've got to force them to do it and get a little movement going. Now, there's probably great arguments on the other side, and that's fine. I don't mind hearing people have arguments on the other side why we shouldn't have term limits, though. I think at this point we've created an aristocracy, and there's no check and balance against that aristocracy. So what else is going on in all of this? Well, Kamala Obama's campaign is reportedly $20 million in the hole, and there seems to be some issues with that. Some of her campaign people have deleted their social media accounts. Can't imagine why. And I don't know if you noticed this, but there were maps that are showing that all but like one of the states that Kamala won have no requirements on voter IDs. Oops. In other news, Eric Adams in New York just announced that food vouchers to illegals is ending. Mind you, this happened right after Trump was elected president. And I've always kind of wondered about Adams. It's kind of interesting case. And you'll wonder how much was shoved down his throat that he didn't want to do. And he's in the middle of a pickle, because the minority communities, aka blacks, and the legal Hispanic population, Latino population, however you want to describe it, they're not happy. Obviously, the white communities and the rich communities, they have their own opinions. But you look at like inner city Chicago, inner city New York, all of that, they're unhappy because they're like, you keep telling us you're going to help us out. You don't. And now we see that you're giving hotels and schools and food vouchers and credit cards and phones to these illegals that you've been bussing in. And Adams is kind of in a tough spot. He's between a rock and a hard place because those are his people, those are his voting base. And yet he has the establishment over top of him saying, we're going to bring campaign finance charges on you because you're not just full-throated endorsement of what we want to do. And I think at this point, he sees Trump being elected, and it's probably a breath of fresh air for him of, finally, I can do what I really want to do. And he's probably hoping that the lawfare goes away once Trump is in office because he's aligning more with that conservative mentality. And I think what you will see is you're going to see a strengthening of this idea of like no more pandering to illegals and no more just open borders without regulation, because it's going to become advantageous for people to line up with that idea. And I think you'll get a lot of people who they lined up with the Biden administration out of fear of pressure and didn't say much, and they're going to be more willing to go, okay, yeah, you're right, this is a problem, especially as their voting base continues to get upset about being overrun by these massive numbers. So you're going to see public opinion. I think you're going to see public opinion come into line a little bit more. And obviously, millions of votes more. Public opinion is already there. Now, the media will weep and gnash teeth, but I think the media is done. They're dead. Now, do they go away tomorrow? No. But they shot their whole load in 2016 to 2020. They've got no ammo left. And their ammo was literally Hitler and literally Putin. But the problem is, none of that ever materialized. And so they've got nothing to point at. And when you think of Hitler, you think of genocide and war. And oh, by the way, Trump didn't start any new wars. Trump doesn't want to be in war. Trump has said, I just want the killing to stop in terms of Ukraine. So there's a cognitive dissonance that people are watching that is in real time, and the media has lost all of their credibility. So I think you're going to see they're kind of done for. They will never gather back the trust. It's kind of like if your significant other cheats on you, like once you trust can be returned. It may be a long, hard struggle, but there's a possibility of trust being returned. If it happens 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times, trust is never coming back. And I think that's what's happened with the media. Trust is never coming back. And you're watching those who are holding on to trust die. It's the old people. The old people are the ones who are still holding on to trust. And guess what? They're falling out of the system. And the new generations are coming up of not trusting mainstream media. They're trusting more on what they see being posted on X, social media, and all that. And so social media, they won't have government backing for the next 4 years, which is awesome. So what you'll see with that is the government's going to back off in terms of forcing social media, aligning with social media to suppress information. And it's not going to be advantageous for social media to suppress. It's actually going to be more advantageous, especially if a man like Elon Musk is in the mix of all of it. It's going to be more advantageous to start letting their fingers off of the whole thing a little bit. Now, I'm not saying you're going to see Facebook and Instagram become defenders of free speech, but although I will say it is interesting that I think Mark Zuckerberg's passion for jujitsu is shaping him to change his views on things. If you want to be in a group of self-sufficient, independent, leave me alone, more conservative-esque types get involved in something like MMA, jiu-jitsu, get involved in weapons training, get involved in the military community, you're going to find real fast that most of the guys around you don't want somebody else to do it for them, and they want their freedom. They want their liberty. Don't tread on me, bro. And so I wouldn't be surprised if you see this evolution continue with Mark Zuckerberg, where I think the Facebook of yesteryear is probably dying out. Now, will they save themselves? No. Will they become the bastion of free speech? No. But they're going to have a lot of reason to not be as obvious and forceful with suppression as they were in the past. And YouTube, they're kind of up for toss up. It could go either way. I don't think Google will ever let go of their liberal ideologies. I think they're too entrenched in it, but who knows? I could be completely wrong. We'll see what happens. So the picks. Yeah, I'll do picks and then I'll do the other one that's kind of fun. So Trump picks, not many have been confirmed yet. So a lot of this is rumor, guys. Now, one thing that is confirmed, Trump has picked Susie Wiles as his chief of staff. First female chief of staff, but he's super sexist and hates women. So this seems to be a good pick. She's one who does not want the limelight, and that's important. She just wants to do her job, and she ran his campaign, which was on point. His campaign was on point. You cannot argue that he screwed up his campaign in a big way. His campaign was good. They were on top of it. Massey and I were talking the other night. Such innovation in how he approached it. And if you can turn around within 24 hours and have a garbage truck painted the right color with your logo and you can drive it at an event 24 hours after somebody makes a garbage comment, like, you're on top of it. You're doing well. There's rumor that Kevin McCarthy actually wanted that position, and I hope Trump embarrasses him publicly about that. Go for broke. Also, rumor has it that Trump selected Thomas Massie as Secretary of Agriculture, which primo, pristine, beautiful. I love it. And the thing is, I'm hoping that the farmers who are Democrat can recognize the value in a guy like Thomas Massie being Secretary of Ag, because he loves agriculture. He loves farming. He loves the environment, but he's sensible. Ron Paul's been warning Trump not selecting neocons into his administration. There are rumors of Pompeo for defense. No. Rumors of Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. Not happy with it. You need somebody more outside of the Beltline. Elon Musk for efficiency. Absolutely, that would be awesome. Doug Burgum for energy. Doug Burgum's out of North Dakota. So big on energy. I don't know enough about him of how far establishment he is. Betsy DeVos for education, Carson for housing and development. Now, those are a couple of picks that he had last administration. Carson, I'm cool with. DeVos, I wish she would have done more. I don't think she weathered the storm of criticism well enough and got far enough along. And it's funny, people are pointing out, kids can't read, adults don't know anything, blah, blah, blah. And you want to get rid of the Department of Ed? Thank you for proving my point. Now, some of these names are kind of a wish list from Fox and Trump. Do not pay attention to what Fox tells you in terms of your picks. Please do not. And I was listening to Dave Smith on the Joe Rogan podcast, and Smith, libertarian heavyweight, he suggested you got to go to guys like Rand Paul. And I agree. I think you go to the guys who are they've been contrarian in the whole system, but they're reasonable. So you get a guy like Rand Paul and those of his ilk. Massey's a perfect example. And sit down with those guys and start shaping, okay, who's trustworthy in this and who's not. Who do we look at that is unconventional for this position? And I think you'll get a farther way down the road than if you start trying to pick the establishment inside, knows the inside type of guys. And I'd almost rather have somebody who doesn't know the system very well than somebody who does, because somebody who doesn't know the system very well has to have a learning curve, but they're also coming with outside perspectives and observations of how to handle it. And in other news, Alex Jones has offered himself to be press secretary. And please, please, Trump, if you on a whim happen to hear this clip, please pick Alex Jones as your press secretary. It would be so entertaining, and it would be such a middle finger to the entire establishment in the deep state. Please, 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 please do that. As far as the Supreme Court, there are potentials of Thomas, Alito, and Roberts retiring. So this would give Trump, 3 more picks. Now, I'm staunch conservative, Massey's staunch conservative. So we're not real thrilled with Amy Coney Barrett or Brett Kavanaugh. So, we got to go tougher in terms of conservative judges, but we'll see. I would hate to see Thomas retire, but I guess now's his chance if he's going to do it, because 4 years, they're going to be 4 years older, these 3, and you don't know what's coming around the corner. So now is the time to retire. Don't hold on. Don't pull a Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Do it now if you're going to do it. So that way we've got the opportunity to get some real good picks, especially in these first 2 years, because it seems to have shaped up that we'll have the House and the Senate. So, and in last news on all of this, women on social media are claiming that they are going to stop sleeping with men because Trump won. So you're going to, checking my notes, stop being promiscuous and raise your standards before sleeping with a guy because you fear the loss of abortions. Don't. No, don't. The horror. That sounds so awful. And women are going as far as shaving their heads, almost as though it's a signaling in the wild of stay away. Stay away from me. I will have to read this from Massey. And this is from Massey Campos, Esquire, BS Advocate. Hey, I've got a BA in BS. He says, and just like that, abortions dropped significantly in America. Who knew that rebellion against God would be used for his good and save lives? Precisely. I am absolutely fascinated by the lack of awareness, self-awareness on this. Women who are proving they're promiscuous or have low standards are saying they are going to stop sleeping with men because abortion. So you're telling the world that traditional values are the way to go. Higher standards. And it's funny because all the guys are responding like, cool, good. And this is why I think the left, they're going to struggle to keep themselves going. And it was funny. They were also saying, now conservative women are going to be forced to carry the child they don't want. My guess is the vast majority of conservative women want to carry that child. So, thanks, I think. Doesn't concern me. But either way, so that one, if you want some enjoyment, get on social media and search that stuff out. Some of that stuff is really funny. So where do we stand on all of this? And I'll round this out. Where do we stand on everything going on here? We've got some time before Trump is actually in office, and that's part of what you're watching in all of these freakouts is like Trump's in office and they're going to start carting people off to camps tomorrow. And flat out, I am seeing this. I am seeing people saying that legal citizens who came from Mexico are going to be deported. And it's all bluster, it's all fear mongering, it's all chaos and panic. And like Massey and I talked about, they are in confusion. Their whole camp is in confusion. They don't know what to do with themselves because all of their plans failed. So at the end of the day, God laughs at the plans of men. And there are a couple of months left. Now, you could say the Biden administration is a lame duck. And I think I could be wrong on this, but I'm going to conjecture on this. Listen for Mike's hot take. I don't think the Biden administration is going to do much. Now, some people say, "Oh, he's going to try and push through everything he can last second. They're going to try and destroy Trump before he even gets started." You may see that with the deep state and with Congress. I don't think Biden's going to do much. I really believe that he's gloating right now. That Trump won. That he got replaced by Kamala. She failed. He's gloating. He's done. He's probably flying a middle finger to all of them saying, "You want me to do that? Screw you. You didn't pick me. You didn't trust me when you needed when you didn't need me. Now you need me? Nah. I'm good." And so I don't think Biden's going to get on board with pulling off much. You'll probably see movement from Congress. You'll probably see movement from the deep state. Be very wary of what kind of conflict gets kicked up in the military sense in the next couple of months. But I don't think Biden's going to be at the helm of it. I don't see him suddenly doubling down and just going flat out. I think he's more interested in protecting his legacy and just sticking with that. Saying, "I think I did a good job. Here's my legacy. What they do is on them." I don't know. We'll see. And Kamala is done. I do not believe she will have any type of career after this. They are going to kick her boat out to sea fast as they can. Biden, it probably does not have long. And people are already talking about, okay, who's the next candidate? I know a lot of conservatives think Newsom is too slimy. He's got too much of a backpack filled with California on his back. But never underestimate Democrats doubling down. I don't think there's gonna be a whole lot of reflection in this whole thing. You'll always get the random one who says we need to really think about what we did this last 4 years. You'll get one or two of those. But I think as far as the establishment party, they are going to double down. And don't be surprised if you see a Newsom and all the conservatives be like, why would you pick him? You got to pick somebody without all of that weight around his neck. But the thing is, they see him as charismatic. He's fully sold on the system. He's charismatic. He's got a great smile, like he's their type of guy. And I really believe that they ran Harris because they wanted to keep their powder dry because they figured there was such an albatross around their neck this time around that they weren't going to be able to do much. Now, on the conservative side, stacked, absolutely stacked. And I hope Trump continues to surround himself with these great individuals. Are they perfect? No. But finally, some people who are not knee deep in the entire system. Not Jeb Bush 2.0, not John Kerry 2.0, or John, who am I thinking of? Dick Cheney 2.0, John McCain 2.0. None of those types coming back around. Conservatives are actually excited about the Viveks and the JD Vances and having the Elons and the Tulsis and the Roberts jump on board. And you're watching this movement of like finally some people that we don't mind getting behind as opposed to hold your nose and vote because, well, this is the guy shoved down my throat. So I hope that's encapsulating where we're at right now. There's a lot of rumor, a lot of speculation. So just take a deep breath. Um, there will be chaos, although I am really surprised that there hasn't been more of a concerted effort on the Antifa front. But I think now's the time to push forward on the conservative side. Do not get soft. Do not, you know, just chill with an iced tea. Oh, we won it. We're good. Now's the time to hit the gas. And I'm going to keep saying that. Hit the gas. Keep them to account. You know. And so that's that. I love you guys. I hope you all have a great day. And by all means, enjoy your weekend. And we'll see where we're at on Monday.